Dear Evan Hanson. Now, this was a difficult movie for me to review. I was initially going to do a straight out of the theater reaction to this, but I was struggling making up my mind what I felt about, or how I felt about what I had just watched. Now, I feel like this movie is going to hit a lot of people in a lot of different ways, really depending on your personal experience with people with mental illness. This movie hit me really hard in a way that I haven't felt in a movie in a really long time. Let me just say that, just in case, take some tissue with you when you see this movie. Now, I'll start off saying that this movie started off as a book and a hit Broadway play that whose lead character, Ben Platt, is also the lead character in this movie, playing Evan Hanson. Now, this movie is about Evan Hanson, a teenage boy that struggles with anxiety and depression, and that he also takes medication for. Now, in the movie, Evan doesn't have any friends. He sort of has one friend, but he's not really his friend. He's really a jerk to him. Evan also sees a therapist that has given him an assignment to write a letter to himself every day, hence Dear Evan Hanson, stating as to why or how he's going to have a good day. Then there's Connor. Connor is another teenage boy in high school that struggles with a mental illness. Now, the character that plays Connor in the movie is also Ben Platt's understudy on the Broadway play. Now, Connor gets a hold of one of Evan's letters that he wrote to himself, and he reads it. He gets really mad and upset and storms off because in the letter it mentions something about Connor's sister. So he assumed that Evan had wrote that letter and meant for him to find it just to mess with him or tease him. Now, fast forward a few days, I think 3 days, we find out that Connor has took his own life. He committed suicide. Connor's parents come to the school and look for, or ask to speak to Evan, because they found on his body the letter that Evan had wrote to himself. They assumed that Connor had written this letter and just hadn't given it to Evan yet. Now, Connor's parents didn't think that Connor had any friends that they knew of. So when they saw this letter written to Evan, they assumed that him and Evan were best friends. And so they go to Evan trying to find out more about their son and learn more about him because they didn't have a good relationship with him. Now, Evan tries to deny that Connor wrote the letter, and he tries to tell the parents that he wrote the letter. But, whenever somebody's grieving like that, they hear what they want to hear and they see what they want to see. So in the process, Evan starts to panic, and he goes and starts going along with the assumption that they are friends. Because he goes along with it whenever he meets the parents, he has to start lying to his friends and his parents because they make a big deal about it, and everything just starts blowing up. He has to keep lying one time after another to cover up his first lie. It even goes as far as him getting in real good with the family, dating Connor's sister. Evan and the high school class president they start a Kickstarter campaign to raise $100,000 in Connor's memory to open up an apple orchard, I think it was, because it was Connor's favorite place to go as a child. Evan even gives a big speech in front of the high school, talking about his and Connor's friendship, and the speech goes viral. Everybody in the auditorium sitting on their iPhones or whatever, and it goes viral. And it gets real big, and Evan starts getting a lot of love and attention from it, and he's eating it up. But in the end, he eventually confesses that he lied about the whole situation and that they're not really friends. Now, there are several things I loved about this movie and a few things I didn't really care for. So I'll get the negative stuff out of the way first. Now, this movie was way too long. I remember a certain point in the movie where I thought it was over. I thought the credits were about to start rolling. I was fixing to get up out of my seat and leave. But then there was more. The pacing was horrible. And then there was Evan having I think 3 solos before anybody else sang in the movie. So like, I was thinking that, hey, it's just going to be Evan singing in the movie. So whenever somebody else starts singing, I was like, wait a minute. So it kind of jarred me. And then the transitions into the songs, they caught me off guard sometimes. They just seemed really off. And during the songs, they would be singing, and then they would just suddenly stop singing, say a few words or sentences like normal speech, and then start singing again. So it just kept going back and forth, and would jar you. The transitions into that stuff wasn't clear. It wasn't smooth like I felt like it should have been. But that's really about it that I didn't like about this movie. Now, what do I like? The first thing I liked was Amanda Stenberg. She played the class president, Alana Beck. To me, she was a standout actor in this movie above and beyond anyone else. She's extremely beautiful, and her voice matched that. I loved it whenever she came on there and started singing. I also think that hers and Ben Platt's chemistry was much better and much more believable as a potential couple. Even though they didn't go that way in the movie, I felt like they should have, and it probably would have worked out a little bit better. And then there's the supporting cast, like Amy Adams. She was great. She played the perfect grieving mother. And then there was the stepfather. I can't remember his name. He did a great job. Connor's sister Zoe. She was a great actress in this. Her singing was beautiful as well. And then there's the story. It brings awareness to the struggles that these kids and teenagers go through every day, that suffer from some sort of mental illness like anxiety or depression or many others. Now, in the movie, it talks about, it mentions Evan having a therapist that gives him an assignment, but you never see the therapist, nor do you ever see a faculty member from the school trying to help Evan or Connor or any other kid in the school that has these kind of problems. They're problems that real kids face in real life that they struggle with every single day, that they don't get help with. It gets ignored, gets overlooked, it gets misdiagnosed when they do get help sometimes. Most of the time, here, pop a few of these pills and move on, and everything gets swept under the rug, and nothing actually gets better. Anyway, then there's Ben Platt. And the studio has gotten a lot of crap for miscasting a 28-year-old to play this 17-year-old character. Now, I didn't have a problem with it personally. There was a couple times in the movie where his look as an older man did kind of take me out of the movie a little bit. But I really don't think that I would have had that problem or noticed it really if the internet hadn't blown up about it before, and I'd seen that before the movie started. Hell, I don't think people realize how much that happens in Hollywood, where an older man plays a younger character. I mean, hell, you got Tom Holland is 25, I think, playing a teenage boy in high school as Spider-Man in the MCU right now. So it happens a lot more than what people realize now. I do understand that Ben Platt does look a little older than Tom Holland does, so I can see how it can take some people out of the movie, because it did me a little bit. It just wasn't as big of a deal as a lot of people was making it out to me. But I also didn't like him at first. It had nothing to do with the way he looked, but it gave me an awkward feeling watching him play this character on screen. But then it kind of hit me, and I realized he's playing an awkward character, so I'm supposed to feel this way. So therefore, I feel like he did a really good job conveying that. Ben Platt has played this character for many years on Broadway, and it started with him on Broadway. So he knows this character inside and out, probably better than anyone right now. Plus, the biggest highlight from him is his voice. His voice is absolutely out of this world amazing, and it really It really helped this movie out a lot. So overall, I really like this movie. Unfortunately, it only made, I believe, $7.5 million its opening weekend from its $28 million budget. I hope more people eventually give this movie a chance and go see it, because it has a good message to it, I believe. Unfortunately, movie's got a 32% Rotten Tomato score, so that's really bad. But on a good note, it's got an 89% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, so that's a big plus for it. So my question to you is, have you seen Dear Evan Hanson? And if you did, comment below. Tell me what you thought about it, because it's been really mixed. There's a lot of people that love it, a lot of people that hate it. Also, if you haven't seen the movie, do you plan on going and seeing it? Okay, until next time, thank you and have a great day.